Welcome to the Photo Up Podcast, the Photo Opinion Podcast. I'm Ben Lucas.
And I'm Stuart Marlantis.
And this is Photo Up, where we talk about all things photo and video. Really quickly, our apologies for the delay.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. Life has kind of gotten in the way, and then you went on a work trip, and then you got COVID. And then I got kind of busy, and then my house got COVID, and it's been just kind of nuts couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get married next week as well, so there's just like a million things going on.
Which actually one of the topics that I think was on our list is how to pick a wedding photographer. But we'll see how well I do, and then we'll talk about it. How's that?
I will review Ben.
Stuart will give a live critique of his wedding photos.
No, there will be no episode filmed at my wedding. It's not work.
No. So, that's kind of where we've been
welcome back.
For the past couple of weeks. Welcome back.
Yay. We're still here.
We are still here. I know we fell off the map, but no, we have a couple of great episodes coming to you over the next couple of weeks, and we are closing in on a very special episode, number 100.
Triple digits.
We're not 100% sure what we're gonna do yet, but we're gonna do something special.
We're gonna do
something special. So, since it has been kind of such a long gap or delay since we've done our most recent episode, we thought we would hit up what are all the things that have happened in photo industry news since the last time we saw you lovely people.
And really quick, we usually do a listener question here, but we are saving a lot of them for its own dedicated episode coming up. So don't worry, we didn't forget to include your listener question in this episode. We're going to save all of those for the next one.
Yep. We definitely got a few kind of over the unexpected break.
Yes.
So we'll be hitting all of those next week.
But for this week, here are the stories. Well, not for this week. For the past
couple of weeks, here are the things that have been happening.
The biggest topic probably that
Nikon not making DSLRs. That's the big one, right?
Yeah, for sure. That let's record another notch in DSLRs are dying. Mirrorless is taking over the world.
Okay, no. But seriously, the absolute biggest thing that's happened.
The biggest thing, at least globally, is probably all of the stuff coming out of the James Webb telescope.
Absolutely,
that has been extremely cool to see. Now, obviously, this is a podcast. Hopefully, you are watching us on YouTube, but I would encourage you, because we can't adequately describe these images, you should look up what's happening with the James Webb if you haven't already. There are 5 major new images that have come out of the James Webb, and there's been a lot of talk about comparing it with Hubble and all sorts of technology that's included in the James Webb that's able to make these things happen. But the most, I think, prominent one that we've seen so far is the deep field. So this is a very famous one. I actually have a big glossy print of the Hubble deep field, and now it looks very dim and boring because the James Webb deep field is amazing.
Okay, so talk to us a little bit about the deep, because this is super interesting tech that I still don't completely understand.
Yeah, for sure. So the deep field is a famous exposure that the Hubble telescope did. It took, I believe, about 22 days, which is quite the exposure time.
Yeah.
And what it's basically capturing is kind of the Hubble was pointed at a piece of the sky that looked black, that like other telescopes, it just looked like a black void. And we pointed the Hubble at that and exposed it for a really long time to see what we could see out there. And we could see tons of stuff, like so many galaxies happening in this deep field. And because they're very, very far away, we're looking kind of, I don't think this is the oldest view that we've seen on the universe, but it's one of them. It's certainly one of them. And so you can see all of these shining galaxies in what was, to the naked eye or even to very powerful telescopes, just a black void. So it was this big moment for astrophotography, I guess you could say. And with the new James Webb being so advanced, it was very quickly pointed at that exact same spot to see what it could see. And in 12 and a half hours instead of 22 days, it took an exposure that not only has much higher resolution and much more detail, but much more vibrance. It's much lower noise. Like it makes the Hubble look like a cell phone camera versus like a new mirrorless in comparison. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, the other thing that I saw was crazy about this is it's not just taking one exposure, it's actually taking a variety of exposures, basically going through all the different kind of wavelengths of the light spectrum, and then compositing them all together so that you can see all of the things that are happening, versus there are some phenomenon that can only be seen at certain wavelengths. So yeah, this is just really fascinating for just us as people, but especially us as photographers.
Yeah.
So definitely go check that out.
And fun fact
cool.
that I learned, the people in charge of doing color correction on these exposures just use regular Photoshop. There's no like special software for the for the James Webb or the Hubble. They just load this stuff into Photoshop, and that's what they do color correction with. So that's your little connection.
If it's good enough for NASA, it's good enough for me.
One more thing on the James Webb stuff that I thought was very funny is that the James Webb Telescope stores its photos on a 68 gigabyte SSD, which, considering how many people complain about storage and SD cards being smaller with greater storage, I think it's pretty quaint that this huge monumental camera, so to speak, uses a 68 gig SSD. Now, I know that there's more to it than that. It needs to be space hardened, radiation hardened, all that kind of stuff. But I thought that was pretty great because probably, I'm not sure, but I think the card in this recorder right now is at least 128, maybe 256 gigs. So yeah.
Well, I mean, also, how many years ago did they have to launch that?
A few years ago.
Because now it's finally in position. So there's definitely a lag where.
But it's just funny how fast this stuff moves in the consumer space in comparison to something like that. So,
absolutely.
Fun stuff.
My dad needed a memory card for some video work that he's doing, and I was like, okay, well, if you can afford it, considering like the size and bit rate of stuff you're doing, like this is probably what you want to get, but it might be. And I look it up, and it's like $20 for that memory card. I'm like, okay, fine, just get the big one. They're not as much as I thought they were.
Oh boy, yeah. And one more thing in space before we move on. NASA is not fully, but reducing the power on the Voyager probes. These probes are the ones that you might be aware of that have the golden record on them. The kind of, they were sent out to go far beyond our solar system and ideally to another galaxy in tens of thousands of years. And they are kind of they're sort of a time capsule of like humanity was here. Like it has an etching, this gold record has like an etching of human forms on it. It has music. It has all this other stuff. They are unfortunately running out of power, and NASA is powering them down. I would also encourage you to look up some photos that the Voyagers have taken over time. There's some pretty incredible stuff there. It's not going to be as fancy as the James Webb, but it's pretty cool stuff, and they're hoping that they can eke out a little bit more performance by about 2030, and then we don't expect to hear from the Voyager anymore. So,
I mean, they've been going for 44 years now, so that's a lot of space photography.
Salute to the Voyager.
Absolutely,
lasted a lot longer than it was supposed to.
Absolutely, going from the absolute most magnanimous and incredible to the absolute mundane and freaking ridiculous. You might know Instagram as a photography platform, but apparently Google says young people, people age, what is it? 18
to 24.
18, 24
Zoomers.
Are using Instagram and TikTok as search engines.
Yeah.
Which is insane to me. I only use it as a search engine when I found a TikTok that I later want to re-find.
Yeah, now there is the caveat on this that they're, it's like 40% of them, and they're using it to find a lunch, I think was the search query. But please, Zoomers, inform me. If you're looking for a place to eat lunch, wouldn't you want a place that has directions, like Google Maps?
Or hours, maybe?
Or hours.
Like Google Maps?
Yeah. So... and I'm not sure, I was thinking about this story because at first this is very mundane, and I think I even my personal show notes for this was the phrase "kill me now," and I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but please tell me, is this I want to believe that there's a positive reason for this, and the only thing that I can think of is if a business has a strong visual presence on social media. Maybe that's something that people give more weight to over anything else, where they're like, yeah, I could find ours, I could find their link through their profile or whatever, but I want to see pictures or videos of what they're making, like in this case, lunch, what food they're making. Maybe that has so much of a draw for people that's worth using Instagram and TikTok as a search engine. I'm trying to advocate a little bit for the Zoomer insanity here, and that's all I can think of. So please inform me if that is the case. If just we need visuals.
Maybe I just don't eat out enough. I
don't really either.
There could be that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm basically turning feral. Like, we've more or less been stuck for like two years. I know everything's opening up and stuff, but this most recent wave of literally everyone and my parents getting COVID of just like, the joke was going to be everyone and your mom, but no, literally. Hope you guys are okay.
Ben and I are here emerging from the cave into the bright light, and Zoomers are now using Instagram and TikTok in our absence
These darn
to search.
whippersnappers.
So what happened?
I don't understand it. No, I am on TikTok. I don't have a ton of content up, but I did a couple of interesting behind the scenes type things. So you can go check that out.
Speaking of TikTok, there's another big story that I actually didn't note down because I think it happened like this morning or in the last day, that it's being heavily, the U.S. government's being heavily encouraged to block TikTok because it's being increasingly considered a national security risk. So that's fun.
Is it a national security risk in that it is mobilizing people to be involved in government and go vote?
I am not going to add any political commentary to that, but I did think it was funny.
Okay, then moving on.
It isn't like we're being domestically spied on all the time by our own government and our own domestic companies at all. Definitely
it's not like that. Moving on.
Anyway.
Meta, otherwise known as Facebook to literally everyone,
Mm-hmm.
Meta is a dumb name.
Yeah, that's. I think Zuckerberg has had a little bit too many yes men in his business now, and he's starting to think a little bit too highly of his own grandiose metaverse ideas.
Not to get too overly political, but here's what I'll say about it. When it comes to a person, I will not use their dead name. But when it comes to a giant conglomerate like this who is just trying to rebrand because they've gotten some bad PR, no, you can't fool us, Facebook. No.
But Ben, corporations are people.
Yeah, just like Subway in that episode of Community. Hi, I'm Subway. Hashtag not sponsored. So Meta is experiencing one of the worst downturns in recent history, which my business is mostly on Facebook. Should I be concerned?
No.
I
mean, apparently Zoomers are also using Instagram, which is a metaverse
which is
property.
also owned by them.
Yeah,
so.
like a ton. So, I mean, fine. Yeah, sure, there are probably people that, as always happens with social networks, there are probably people that are either not joining or leaving Facebook to join the next big thing, which is apparently TikTok. This is going to continue happening. I'm sure there's going to be something after TikTok and something after that, so on and so forth in 5 to 10 year increments. I don't think this is really surprising.
Vertical video hurts my soul.
It does. I will never shoot it.
I have been shooting it for TikTok and it pains me.
Yeah, I will. My eyes are not vertical. I will not shoot.
Once cinemas start going 16:9 this way.
Okay, then I will. But until then, there's this really, really easy thing you can do, which is just like do this.
Turn your camera. Just turn it horizontally.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No kidding.
Anyway, sorry, Meta, but not sorry.
So next up in photo news, Shutterstock, the stock photo company, is pulling a bunch of assets away from the Adobe Stock because they acquired Pond 5.
Yeah.
So Pond 5 is another stock agency that you may or may not have heard of, but they were licensing a ton of stuff to Adobe Stock, and when Shutterstock bought them, they said, nope.
Yep.
Only us.
Yeah, so Adobe Stock has quite a lot of competition. I actually use some Pond 5 stuff occasionally. I've used some stuff from Shutterstock. I've used some stuff from Adobe Stock. This feels actually kind of like quite a big move because they licensed so much to Adobe Stock. I feel like it's going to feel kind of bear around there after this. My guess is that Shutterstock is acquiring everything that they can so that eventually they can sell themselves to Adobe for some like super inflated price, and Adobe will pay it because they're Adobe. So I feel like this is leading to some, shopping themselves around personally. But I don't know. It's curious to see.
Yeah.
I mean, Adobe could use some more competition, like on all fronts. Adobe Stock, more competition is good. Adobe software, more competition is definitely good.
That's true.
I don't have any problem with it.
They're definitely king when it comes to the software space, but we will actually link below to all of our Adobe alternatives if you guys are interested in that. If you think Adobe is not the latest and greatest, then we have some other stuff you guys can go check out. So we'll link that down in the show notes. We have 2 more stories here to round out today's episode. Creative Live.
Local story. This is Pacific Northwest local, even though no matter where you are in the country or even the world, Creative Live is a great online platform for people, but their offices are here in Seattle. Yep. Yeah, it's a Chase Jarvis thing. He started Creative Live. So, shout out to our local guy, Chase Jarvis.
Yeah. So yeah. What's our Creative Live headline?
So Creative Live has acquired Wildest, which I am not familiar with, but apparently they're of some note in the adventure, like travel photography space, doing offering courses around that content. Seems to be a good fit for Creative Live, so they're being acquired.
I mean, they were founded in 2018, and then so they had just a little bit of time. And then COVID happened. Yeah. So if you haven't heard of them, that's probably fine.
Probably
why. They do workshops from wildlife photography to drone photography to brands photography. So yeah, they're kind of a cool niche that is now under the Creative Live umbrella.
Which I think we mentioned before, but this ultimately means that Fiverr is actually acquiring Wildest because Fiverr bought Creative Live a while back. So
that's true, they did.
So far, they're not messing with it, but
so far,
I'm concerned about that.
I do have a bunch of Creative Live courses. It's a good program. You should definitely check them out.
And the last one, the one that we shill for in almost every episode of this podcast.
Round us out, Stuart.
Lawa.
I'm personally very mad about this headline.
Lawa has released.
How dare you, Lawa?
A new probe lens.
How dare you? After 2 years of waiting for a sale, I finally get my hands on one, and you release a brand new one. How dare you? No, it's exactly the same, except it's got a little attachment at the end that allows, it's basically a mirror that allows you to shoot 90 degrees.
Yeah, the Perry probe.
So it is the exact same thing, except you can get it into tighter spaces at different angles.
Cool stuff, Lawa.
That is it.
So now do I need to wait for a sale, and then I need to buy one of these, and then you'll release a third one that's even better?
Yeah, that seems to be how tech works.
Seems to be about right.
Seems to be how tech works. No, we're still going through the paces trying to get ours to function.
Yeah,
it functions, but it is a little bit of a pain.
Off camera right now. We're looking at it.
Yeah,
it's a guest.
It is our guest speaker, but no, it still has some vibration issues that we're trying to hammer out. And once we get everything locked down on that, there will hopefully be a lot more probe footage on my social media anyway.
For sure. Maybe on your TikTok.
Maybe on my TikTok. I already have, I think, at least one on my TikTok. But cool. Yeah, so that is kind of photo news that if you guys have been living under a rock, you might have been missing over the past couple of weeks. But yeah, that is our episode for today. Next week, we're going to come back with all of your listener questions, and then we're going to get into the groove with some of these more fabulous topics. And then very shortly, right around the corner, a grand episode 100, doing something special for that.
What are we going to do for that?
I don't know.
We need to find out.
If you guys have any ideas, where can they send their ideas?
hello@photo-op.show.
Yep. If you have any questions, ideas for future shows, or if you want to tell us, please tell us what you think we should do for the Magic episode 100. We'll probably take a short break after that. Not too long, since we kind of just took one. Although this break was not as relaxing as either of us would have hoped.
No, it was not a vacation.
Definitely not a vacation. No. So we will see you next week. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And we'll see you then.
It's good to be back.
If you have questions or ideas for future episodes, you can email us at hello@photo-op.show.
Watch us on Ben's YouTube channel at NomCreative.
As in Om Nom Nom.
Share this with a friend, and you can listen to Photo Op anywhere podcasts are sold.
Or download it. 'Cause it's free.